Caleb, when two people get married, it's for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health.
I know that, but marriages aren't fireproof. Sometimes you get burned.
In wedding vows today, so often couples say for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. But because they're standing there in such a happy moment, they're not thinking sickness, they're not thinking death, they're not thinking poor, because they're not in that yet. They're not in a valley, they're on a mountaintop experience.
We walked into marriage with difficulties, and coming from a home where marriage wasn't modeled for me, I didn't know how to do marriage. I didn't know what it looked like.
I had recently been divorced, and then we got married. I looked at life like there needs to be some freedom there for me, and Cheryl looked at life like there needs to be a relationship there, and the relationship needs to come first.
I kept wondering, how are we going to get out of this here? Not how we was going to make it, but how are we going to get out of it?
The first year was terrible for us.
Our marriage kind of became a marriage where we were just living in the home together. You know, she was raising our 2 children, and I was out working, and I'd come home late. I worked basically 2 jobs, and really just didn't have the time for the family.
Did you leave me any dinner at all?
I assumed you were eating with Michael.
Does it not occur to you that there are 2 people living in this house and both of them need to eat?
If you would communicate with me, maybe I could have something for you.
Why do you have to make everything so difficult?
But, you know, it wasn't like the storybook. You know, you get married and everything goes happily ever after. I mean, there are many challenges.
It was one of those times where we spent nights and nights, you know, talking and crying and arguing and not even coming to any kind of conclusions at all, and realizing we can't do it. We can't do it anymore. And it didn't feel like there was any hope.
I was always worried, like, well, this could be the conflict that causes us to get divorced. If this doesn't get resolved, we could be finished.
I knew that our marriage was bad. I knew that it had gotten to the lowest point, but to hear the finalization of those words, I do not love you, I don't want you, I don't want Madeline, that hurts.
Sometimes it takes rock bottom for us to realize what we promised and go back to our promise, and then to get serious about investing in our marriage and our family and our relationship with God.
He had come home and said, hey, I heard this thing on the radio called Weekend to Remember. It's a whole weekend about your marriage. I think it would be great for us to go to. I was like, no, I don't want to go. It's been a whole weekend talking about our marriage. We've been talking about it for the last 5 years.
Our church was promoting Weekend to Remember, and it was really a no-brainer for us. Nobody needed to twist our arm at this point. We wanted it really bad.
I didn't want to be there, and I didn't want to hear what they had to say, but I recognized that what they were saying was who I was. I really started to feel like there was some hope, and it was more than just the kind of hope that I had anticipated. It was something that I didn't understand at that point.
But we went Friday night, and oh wow, it was incredible. We thought we had talked about our marriage for the last 5 years. We hadn't even hit the surface.
The conferences do meet everybody where they are, and they're still great for people that have great marriages, and I think it allows God to take you to a next level, and that's what it did for us. Things were going good, and then God said, I want you here.
The Weekend to Remember is just a great weekend getaway for a couple where you can spend a lot of time together, but you get a chance to spend that time around receiving those blueprints from the scriptures of how you can build your marriage.
For men, it's an opportunity to tell your wife, you mean more to me than anything. Let's spend this weekend together and let's work on our marriage.
After we attended the Weekend to Remember, we didn't just stop there. We became members of the Home Builders, and we began to have couples around us that was for our marriage.
We knew right then that we were going to start this all new, and didn't matter what the past was.
It's worth giving the time and the energy and the focus and the attention to making it better, to making it all that God intended for it to be. And as long as you're breathing, there is hope.